Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. So starting this video off with updates of Derek Lunsford. Derek actually got a training session in with Nick Walker and Kamal Elgargni today. So hopefully we get to see that on YouTube pretty soon. But Derek is looking pretty good heading into this year's Mr. Olympia. Now when Derek Lunsford walked up next to this guy, Derek did start to look a little bit smaller. But even though neither one of these guys are hitting a pose, what do you guys think about the size difference between Derek Lunsford and Nick Walker? Will it be too much for Derek Lunsford? Now switching over to Martin Fitzwater, these are the most recent updates from him after this Arnold Classic UK. And Martin is looking incredible. Now in the caption of this post, he did say he's probably not going to compete again until 2024. Some of us thought he may hop into the Legion Sports Fest. He said his goal is to put on about 10 or 15 pounds of muscle. Also wants to bring up the arms and the adductors. Martin knows exactly what he needs to do to be more competitive. Hopefully we get to see him on stage next year. Martin does seem to make improvements pretty fast. So maybe we could see him before 2024. But I think this was a great showing at the Arnold Classic UK. And Martin is on the way to probably having one of the best back double biceps in the sport. But I'm excited for the future of Martin. And a lot of people are counting him out for some reason still. He's only 25 years old, guys, has a lot of time to grow and develop in the sport. And in the next update of the day, we have an update from William Bonac. Now, on the right was William at some point during this offseason. He says this wasn't recent, at least 2 weeks old. And on the left was William Bonac at this year's Arnold Classic. And going into this year's Mr. Olympia, when a lot of people talk about the top contenders, they leave out the name William Bonac. Probably because he placed 6th at last year's Olympia, but I believe that was probably the worst showing of Williams' career. Now, going into this year's Mr. Olympia, I do think William would be a serious threat to that second place position, of course, but he will struggle with the midsection. His midsection isn't necessarily bloated or distended, but if he's next to Nick Walker, Brandon Curry, Hadi Chupin, all of those guys have incredible abs, and let's hope they don't put Andrew Jack in their first call out, because it would definitely be very hard for Bonac to get an edge in the midsection department over any of those guys. But as you guys know, Bonac is one of my favorites going into this year's Mr. Olympia, and I hope he brings his best package to date. And switching over to Good Vito, we have a few recent physique updates from him. And Vito is 6 weeks out of attempting to earn his pro card in the NPC. Now, when I saw this photo on the left, it definitely impressed me. This guy looks absolutely massive. Look at the texture of the skin and the conditioning already at 6 weeks out. And let's not start on the sweep on the quads. Vito is very complete. He only needs to add more density to the back and also a little bit more arms. But even the lower half from behind is incredible. But from the way Vito is looking right now, I'm pretty sure he's going to come in conditioned to earn his pro card. Now switching over to Antoine Vaillant, a guy we haven't really talked about in a while. And in bodybuilding, it seems like whoever won the last show is the only guy that's really talked about. Haven't been much talk about Antoine, Ian, Hassan, Blessing, really anyone since they won the show. But Antoine is looking better and better as we get closer to this year's Olympia. I was a little bit worried about him still having health problems, but it seems like he's fine. I believe Antoine can really beat some guys at this year's Olympia. As I mentioned with a lot of guys, they're inconsistent with their conditioning, but Antoine is a guy that comes in conditioned in detail. I think he could definitely catch some guys slipping. Now, the next update of the day, this is only a small one of Cutler and Regan Grimes. And just to recap, Regan Grimes is out of this year's Olympia. He said he wants to take some time off and just focus on putting on size. Regan has said ever since he's been competing, he's been doing at least 2 or 3 shows every year. Never had a full year off. But I know Regan has to be more motivated than ever. Growing up, I'm pretty sure Regan looked up to a guy like Cutler. So just seeing him as much as he does in Las Vegas and working out with him as much as he does, I know it really pushes Regan, and hopefully we get to see the best version of him next year. Now switching over to Charles Griffen, another guy who's been pretty quiet ahead of this year's Olympia. This lineup is going to be so stacked, man, it's going to be a headache trying to make predictions. But Charles is one of my favorite guys going into this year's Olympia to push that top 10. Hopefully he can make it happen. Now switching over to Vlad Suhoruchko, this is the most recent update from him ahead of this year's Olympia. Now, Vlad was actually supposed to be in the Arnold Classic UK, but he won Yamamoto and pulled out. And it's crazy because that was a good show, but it could have been even better. Andrea Muzi pulled out, Andrea Presti, Theo LaGuerrier, Lionel Bayeki was unable to get a visa. Show could have been a lot better than what it was. But all of the guys that I named outside of Lionel Bayeki are already qualified for this year's Olympia by winning a show or points. So I can understand why they will pull out of this show, and even more so when you see Andrew Jack's name on the competitor list. But Vlad looks pretty good. And you guys are now currently looking at the competitors list for this weekend's Yamamoto France Pro. And we have a lot of the guys from the Arnold Classic UK jumping into this show. So hopefully Lionel Bayeki is actually able to make it there this year. Jamie the Giant Joe Hall is looking really good this season, man. He's really made some improvements in his physique, and a lot of people are noticing. James Hollingshead had an incredible showing at the Arnold Classic UK. A lot of people think he was robbed. James could definitely win this show. But he has to get past Patrick Johnson, who just beat him last week at the Arnold Classic UK. So you guys let me know in the comment section below. Early predictions, of course. Who do you have winning this show? And hopefully Mark Hector jumps in. Why is he not in this lineup? Switching over to Kamal Elgargni, these are recent physique updates from him. And Kamal is looking great ahead of this year's 212 Olympia. Now, Kamal actually looks a little bit better to me with more mass on his physique. You guys let me know in the comment section below what do you think about that. Especially on the left, the legs look a lot bigger, more full. Even seems like they have more sweep. And it's incredible how Kamal is 50 plus years old and seems like he's still improving. But of course, with him being 50 plus, we don't want him to just push the mass up. And I think 212 would be a great ending spot for his career. Hopefully he's able to capture that title this year. But he will have this young guy on his back, Keone Pearson. Keone looks incredible, one of the most genetically gifted athletes we've ever seen. But once we get to the 212 Olympia, conditioning really matters. 212 is arguably the most conditioned class. Those guys absolutely nail it. You can't even afford to just have striated glutes. That's not enough in 212. Derek Oslin almost always brings striated glutes, and people talk about how he's off. You have to be conditioned pretty much no body fat to win a 212 show, especially at the Olympia. Now, will Keone Pearson be able to get past a guy like Angel Calderon? Angel comes in very, very conditioned, but Keone also seems like he has a better structure. Angel was 4th last year, and he actually won an open class show, so it's possible he doesn't compete in the 212 this year, but I'm pretty sure that he will. And I wish 212 was bigger than what it was, because this year's Olympia is going to be competitive in that division as well. We have Sean Clarita, Kamal Elgargni, Keone Pearson, Angel Calderon. We have Ping Young Long, Kareth Bajo. We have a lot of good guys that could really shake some things up. But I'm excited to see Angel at this year's Olympia. I would be more surprised if he went up to open. But I think he and Sean Clarita will stay in the 212 division. Especially with Derek Lunsford leaving, it does open up that top spot. And in the next update of the day, I did want to share this high-def video of Peter Molnar from the Arnold Classic UK. As you guys know, Peter was supposed to compete in Classic Physique, but he was unable to make weight. So he moved up to the 212 division and actually placed 4th. And honestly, this guy's physique is so classic. He has the crazy arms. He comes in crazy condition. If only Peter had legs, man, he could have actually won the 212 division at this show. But Peter has been competing for a very long time. Actually competed as a bodybuilder before he came to the NPC. But out of all of the physiques at this show, Peter was probably the most impressive physique to me personally. I mean, Andrew was impressive. We all knew he was going to win. And Martin Fitzwater was mind-blowing from the back. But to me personally, Peter Molnar was one of the best showings of this Arnold Classic UK. What do you guys think in the comment section below about his physique? And should he stay in 212? And switching over to Elliott Dermond, these are the most recent updates from him at 10 weeks out from the NPC Nationals. And as I've been saying in pretty much every video, this is probably going to be our next NPC Nationals winner. And his physique is also very reminiscent of a Carlos Thomas Jr. to me personally. This guy is just very, very muscular and seems like he doesn't have a problem coming in condition. And ending this video here with the archive of the day, you guys let me know in the comment section below which legendary bodybuilder is this. But as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.